Hi, I'm Finn. So today I just wanted to do a video that revolves more around um, sort of finding your purpose and what you're meant to do in this one life that you have. And I wanted to share a bit of insight from my own experience because it's probably been a major thing for me, and it's sort of at the forefront always for me. I've been trying to find out what I'm meant to do in this life. Like, why am I here? What's my purpose, etc., etc. And I don't doubt that many people probably feel the same way. And it's an ongoing journey. I mean, maybe people are still asking themselves this at 60 or 80, and I kind of hope that I won't be. I kind of hope that I'm putting in the energy early, that I'm actually being honest with myself and pursuing what makes me happy, right? So I just wanted to give a bit of background and maybe share a few of the mistakes I think I've made that might help someone either not make the same mistake or just shed a bit of light on um, maybe the way to go to finding your calling or your purpose. So um, one of the biggest mistakes for me, and it's probably quite common, was feeling like I was supposed to know what I was supposed to do with my life at 17 or 18 years of age. So I finished school, I got to the final grade and did the final certificate. In Australia, we call it the high school certificate. And when you do that, you get this number at the end, which goes on to sort of allow you to do particular university courses because, for example, 99 and above, at the top universities, you'd be able to apply for medicine or law or this sort of thing, right? And there was a real push to go to university. This was at my school, right? And I went to a private school, and there's a lot of stuff tied up in that in itself, right? There was a real push to go to university because one, society, you're gonna find, like, I think if you looked and you're really observant and objective, you'll see that society has a view on how things are supposed to work. Like, that there's this, do this and you'll get this, do this and you'll get this. And I just don't believe that's the case. And I, more now than ever, I've just realized to be happy, there's no set roadmap and there's no plan. And so at the final year of high school, I was obviously thought, well, that's what I do. I go to university, and you look at this list and you're thinking, okay, so what do I choose? And I chose media and communications, and back when I finished, which was in 2003, it was like the in thing to do, at least in Australia. It was just like this. I mean, every man and his dog was doing it, and I hated it. So I went to the first year. I didn't even get through the first year. I did the first 6 months, and I was just like, what the hell am I doing? Like, it was nothing like high school, of course. Like, and I don't know about in college, probably people love it, but in university, you can really get involved in the life of university, or you just, you kind of just go for your lectures and your tutorials and you come home. And that was what it was like for me. There was no friends at university for me. They'd all gone to a lot of people gone overseas. A lot didn't go to university straight away. So I really jumped straight in. And that was, I believe, mistake number one. I don't resent anything. It's not that I always look back and think, my past should have been a different way. It's just, this is now my insight so that I can share with somebody else. And so I got really depressed and I just thought, I want to go overseas. So there was this gap between stopping university and before going overseas for a while. And I was just so depressed because I was absolutely directionless. Like, thought, maybe I thought I was a bit of a failure. I just thought, why didn't I enjoy this? What am I supposed to do with my life? Okay, you're 18. Like, now I get how stupid it is to think that you're supposed to know what you want to do with your life at 18. So if you are 18 listening, please take that on board. Like, you're not meant to know, right? And if you do, great. But generally speaking, like, you've got years ahead of you to forge out your purpose. So I sat, this is like the low point in my life. Like, no one was around. They'd all disappeared or at university. For the next couple of months before I went overseas, I sat downstairs in the TV room in my pajamas all day and watched back to back 1990s Law and Order. It was just like, I think so much so that like that song that starts that TV show was in my head all day, all night. Like, it was just absolutely obsessive. It was incredibly low point. So clearly I was unhappy. I had no direction, right? So I went overseas and I wasn't happy with that either because I didn't know what I was going to run away from. I was running away from the fact that I felt directionless at home. So I didn't go with a real purpose to go overseas. So I went over to the UK. I didn't enjoy it. And then I went over to the US for 6 weeks, where I actually had been when I was 16 for an exchange. So I actually felt a lot better there because I was going back to somewhere I knew and I could just chill out for 6 weeks. But all whilst I was still directionless. Like, I didn't know what I was going to do when I came home. And I remember probably in those last couple of weeks of being in the US, I signed up for a uni degree back here in Australia. And when I got back, I started, graphic design. And art theory. And I enjoyed it. Like, I did enjoy it more than the first time. But again, it didn't sing to me. It just wasn't something, maybe traditional learning, I don't know, it just didn't sit with me, right? And I got through the year, but I also don't know how I got through, because it was actually the year that I developed severe panic disorder and anxiety because my dad actually started to drink very badly again. And I moved out of the family home and it was very traumatic. And I finished it. And at the end, so the second mistake I made was after trying to do uni degrees that just felt like nothing to me, was actually choosing something because I'd looked up what the potential salary was. Like, this is again being guided by fear in a lot of ways. Like, we choose things not because we want them, but because we think they're what we're supposed to do, or that it'll be okay, things will be okay if I do that. So I chose, I went on to choose social policy and a further art theory degree. Like, I wanted to get deeper into that. And again, I just hated it, but I chose it because I'd looked up what social policy makers make, and it was like, 80,000 plus. I mean, now I get like, I'm focusing now these days in the entrepreneurial world more, which can potentially, if you're really, really passionate, I mean anything, not even an entrepreneur, but if you open your own business or anything like that, the potential to earn more money than 80,000 a year, like, that is just what I've realised. Like, I was so hung up on this figure, and no one told me when I was 18 and looking for my purpose or who I was and what I wanted to do, that, you don't have to go to college or university. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, because I'm a real believer in further education. But no one said, people run their own businesses. There's people working for themselves who have just followed their passions, and they may have done further education eventually, but they're running a business. Or for guys, like at my school, because there's such a push for, and I believe, I'm cynical here, but it was a private school that they were pushing for people to achieve good university admissions numbers so that the school looks good, right? So a lot of the boys weren't told, hey, maybe you've got a skill with your hands, like for building or construction or civil construction. My partner's in civil construction. He had the benefit that he left school at 16 and went off to do plastering. He's from Ireland. And, didn't do the whole college uni thing, right? But he's earns very good money. He's happy in his job. And again, I just want to reiterate that there's no set plan in how you're supposed to live your life and get to your purpose. But operative word being there is your purpose. So I've looked back now and I can really pinpoint and connect the dots. The times that I felt incredibly depressed and low and probably highly anxious were the times when I really, really lacked purpose. So I just did not know what I was doing with my life. And it's a terrible feeling, because it's sort of like, it's really deep-seated there about, like, why are you here? Why you're here is you do have a purpose, and everyone has, I believe, and again, this is something, I always come from my belief, so there are people who do not agree with this, but I believe you have a message to share with the world. So everyone has gone through things in their life, and you are literally like unique. There is nobody like you. So something that you have to share with the world will never come again. And I just believe if you come from a place of that and searching for what that message is that you're here to give the world, you will find more purpose. And in fact, the flip side of that is that you'll actually find that you're less depressed, less anxious, less angry, less directionless, everything. Because to have a purpose, it almost shines a roadmap for us in a world where there isn't a roadmap. If you're looking out, believing that there is a structure that you're meant to follow, that's not how it works. Okay, and it's been a rude awakening for me in that we carve out our own lives by choice. So my advice would be, and these are the things I've done, and it's still taking time, but is to start to look at, particularly if you're about to go to college, or you're someone who's around my age, 29, mid-20s, maybe you finish college but you're not happy. It's start looking at what you're naturally good at. And I don't mean like just what you know you're naturally good at, but what do people tell you you're good at? So what do people come to you for? Do they come for you for advice? Are you wise? Are you creative? Do you do things for people? Are you crafty? Do you make, I had a friend who, it's really, really interesting watching where people lead in their life, head in their life, right? So I had a friend who did aviation, and she was always really crafty, artistic type. So the fact that she chose aviation was almost like, what? But she was incredibly good at physics and math. She was doing sort of like top math at school and sort of something you wouldn't expect. And she loved aviation. She enjoys aviation. It's like, it's one of her passions. However, her whole life, she was really, really creative. So she'd make handmade birthday cards. When I was sick from school, she'd make little packages. She was incredibly it was massive creativity actually. Like I was creative in a lot of ways, but not in the same way. It was a different type of crafty creative, right? So she's always had this side passion, and now she's doing millinery. So she makes hats, and she's just gone over and done an internship with the top milliner in the UK, like the top milliner in the UK. This whole life starting to like blossom in this area that I could have actually said to her, yes, whilst you're good at being a pilot, like you're incredibly good at that, I've seen all along that this is actually like, it's you in action. It's like total expression of who you are. And that's what I mean by finding the thing that is just like, it's as easy as, I don't know, like easy as eating, easy as sleeping. It's just like an extension of you. It's not supposed to be hard. It may be hard work to get where you want to go into professionally with it, but it's the actual act of doing it isn't supposed to be hard. And so I really truly believe the thing you have to offer is the thing that comes easiest to you. And if you don't know what that is, start asking people what they see you doing and what they believe your assets and skills are, and start looking and even writing down what people come to you for, and what makes your heart sing. So what do you do? Spend your time on that hours just drift away. And it may seem really abstract at first. You might go, oh, well, hours drift really away when I'm just sitting on the computer. Yes, but what are you doing on the computer? Like for me, for example, I spend a lot of time on the computer. I love researching though, right? So I actually love finding information. So I am spending a lot of time on the computer and hours drift away. What are you doing on the computer? Are you playing games? What about it? Is it about games that you're enjoying? Like this is the thing. It's not, and the answer's not going to come like this. But if you plug away at searching for that answer, it will come. And, what you focus on expands. And that's, I enjoy, existing possibility and the world of probably quantum physics a bit. But I truly believe, like, if you actually start to be, you really focus your intention that you're going to find out what this purpose is for you, it will come to you because you're focusing on it. You want to know. It's when you're distracted by all these other things and doing things because people told you should do them, or living out a life that doesn't feel right, but you just feel it's expected of you, you're not going to find your purpose. Your energy is being directed elsewhere, and it's not being focused on trying to find your purpose. So my number one thing is just start. You don't have to find it tomorrow, but just start being honest with yourself and start being self-aware and start listening to what people tell you that you're good at. And you sort of know what you're good at too, but what lights you up? What could you spend hours on and not be paid for it, but you'd still be happy to do? Anyway, I hope that helps a bit. It's taken me a really long time to get that what I enjoy doing is talking. So, but like seriously, I enjoy motivating, inspiring other people. And I could go, what the hell job is that? Like, what am I going to do with that? But I trust that something's going to come out from that for me, because it's the thing I could do nonstop. So, and maybe I do believe it would service the world in some way. So again, just, focus on yourself and look for the question, like ask the question that you want to know your purpose, and then start looking for it. I'll probably do more videos on this sort of thing. If you've got any questions, just write below. And I hope you did. I mean, maybe you got something from that. Maybe you did. Maybe just like, who is this girl? But anyway, I'll speak to you soon. Bye.